What? What's that? On my head? Oh, yeah, these. I built some real Ghostbusters Ecto goggles, too.
Break out the new equipment!
I am Halloween.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
They're here. Oh, who you gonna call?
Hey everybody, Jason here, back again for another installment of this year's Ghostbusters News Halloween Countdown. And in today's video, I'm back at it again as we continue our build of the real Ghostbusters Proton Pack. Now, if you missed the first part, it's up here on the Ghostbusters News YouTube channel, but for a quick recap, I built the Neutrino Wand. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think it came out really good, like better than I could have ever expected. Especially given that with this build, the goal is for very minimal post-processing, meaning hardly any sanding and absolutely no paint. Let me also add here that all the 3D print files, both for the wand and what you're going to see here today as I begin my build of the Proton Pack, they're available from Ghostbusters Gear over on Patreon. And let me tell you, the quality of these files, the way the instructions are laid out, it's impeccable. Seriously, this has been such a fun and easy build thus far, and actually I also do want to add here, in the last video, when we made the Neutrino Wand, there was a lot of people wondering what filament I used. I guess some of you want to replicate this, you like the color of blue, the red, the yellow, the silver. Well, I've included a complete list of every single filament that I'm using in this build down below in this video's description. Click those links, buy the filament, be sure to sign up to Ghostbusters Gear Patreon page to grab all the files, and yeah, print your own real Ghostbusters Proton Pack. So I think when it comes to getting started on the pack, the best place to start is at the very bottom, the cyclotron. And given that Proton Packs that are, well, pretty large, the files to build this pack, they've been broken up into smaller, easy to manage pieces, making them suitable for entry-level 3D printers such as the Ender 3, or something with a slightly larger build volume, such as what I'm using, the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon. Now, as I alluded to in the previous video, just really small, minute changes in your printer settings, it can dramatically change the look of your 3D prints. At least that's what I found when using this metallic blue PLA for the majority of this Proton Pack and Neutrino Wand build. On the left is one of the parts of the base of the cyclotron I initially printed. I then realized if I slowed the print down just a little bit, I'd get more of a shine. And that's what you're seeing here in my right hand. Hopefully it's coming through on camera. Because yeah, in person there is a distinct difference here. And much like the wand, there were some pieces of the Proton Pack that I printed 2, 3, 4, 5 times even. And that's not the fault of the 3D printer, that's me being fickle. I'd print a part, I'd love it, I'd then look at it the next day, and I would say to myself, you can do better than that, right? You can print a better looking piece. Fickle. I'm fickle. Now the top of the cyclotron, it is printed in 5 individual pieces. This is the top middle portion of it. And looking over the instructions, it appears that for the majority of these pieces of the Proton Pack, unlike the wand, the pack is going to be held together with a heavy-duty glue rather than screws. And once everything is glued together, we're essentially going to have one large 3D printed shell. In fact, in gluing these pieces together, here's our first large area of the pack semi-completed, the cyclotron. So some may have noticed I went with a faint pattern on top. It's not really textured as it's smooth to the touch, but I liked it for 2 reasons. One being that it helps give the build a more uniform look, as well as it hides some of the areas that may not have printed perfectly. Again, as I said in the previous video, the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon, it feels like an appliance. I mean, you hit print, it prints what you want. I mean, it just works. But it's still a 3D printer, meaning that there's still going to likely be some inconsistencies between one print to the next. While not installed just yet, additional details, they include this control box with a real working switch and push buttons. Again, I have no idea what I'm going to do about electronics just yet. I likely won't have anything installed prior to Halloween, but it's definitely something I'll revisit, come November, December, whenever I can get, a good grasp on electrical, on lights, sounds, because I've got no idea. I mean, prior to this build, 3D printing to me, it was Greek. Moving on, another piece that we're going to need to attach to the cyclotron is this silver bumper. And what I really love here is that Ghostbusters Gear has given two different options, as when he first released all these files, it came with this bumper, which I mean, it looked okay, it looked good, it did the job. But then later he released this updated variation featuring a slightly different design with rounder edges. Oh, and I also have to screw this into place once we get it, attached to the cyclotron. But right here, we do have a hook for the cable of the ghost trap, which I guess that means I now also have to build a ghost trap in time for Halloween, in addition to the Proton pack. Luckily though, I have been building because above the cyclotron, we've got both the injector and regulator. Both of these pieces, they came together super quick, they printed perfectly, and again, kudos to Ghostbusters Gear for the files and the easy to follow instructions. I especially love the red injector tube here, which to me is one of the real Ghostbusters pack's most memorable and iconic details. Well, that piece and also this yellow, or as printed here, gold generator. Now the generator here thus far has been one of the only areas of the pack I did some sanding on, because to print it I had to use support. And in removing some of that support, it left some nasty marks and gashes. But I think the end result here, it looks pretty clean, especially paired with that silver tubing. Now moving on here with the Proton pack build. What's that? On my head? Oh, yeah, these. I built some real Ghostbusters Ecto goggles too. And I know I've already hyped up these files, but I'll continue to do so because this was such an easy print, an easy build. The whole thing came off the print bed and was fully assembled in just one day. And I got to use the same wood PLA from the Neutrino One's handles for the base of the goggles. And much like that Neutrino One, I feel like this came out so clean, it looks so good. When it came to this build, the only thing I needed to buy additional was the strap to attach this to my head. Oh, as well, the padding, which I just bought a really cheap pair of aviator goggles off of Amazon, tore the padding off, and then just glued them right into place. Now, best yet, these goggles, they are functional. Well, not functional in the sense that they'll let you see ghosts, but like all the knobs and the dials and such, they actually turn. Like seriously, how cool are these? I think they're now my go-to pair of Ecto goggles. Alright, now back to the pack. I've kind of breezed through the whole thing in today's video, with really the only two areas left to print being the ion arm and the power cell. Update, I've actually now printed both of those pieces, and they're gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I love this ion arm so much. The opening revealing that translucent yellow filament with that curved design and that metallic blue. Seriously, a 3D print should not make me feel the emotions that I'm feeling. Again here, I love this. I've also went ahead and attached it to the support casing, which houses two areas for lights, both a yellow and a red. And then finally here, we've got the power cell, which surprisingly was a much bigger print job than I had expected. As this just wasn't one big print, instead it was 5 individual pieces, plus this side V-hook. So I can feel it. We're close. We're very, very close. Be on the lookout for part 3 of this real Ghostbusters Proton pack build as I strap a motherboard to it, and I can actually, I can wear it. I can be a real Ghostbuster. As well, in addition to the Neutrino One, the Proton pack, and the Ecto goggles, let me also just say, in that next video, I'm gonna have a real Ghostbusters ghost trap, of course, to attach to the Proton pack, as well as a belt gizmo and a PKE meter. So I think that just about does it for this one. As always, subscribe. If you'd like to join up with Ghostbusters news, check out our Patreon page. A link to that is down below in this video's description, and we'll see you right back here next time.
Chills up your spine, your senses don't deceive you. Call up the guys who are ready to believe you. The number's 555-2368. But before you call, let's get something straight. What do you do when the ghost isn't busted? Is it the source universally trusted? If you got a case of Ghostbusting blues, the cure for sure is Ghostbusters news. Jason's the guy who's doing the heavy lifting. Through rumors and gossip, he does all